So you just put out an ad recently that is fantastic, and we'll play that now for people who are watching.
Me as a black man in the United States of America, like literally we were the first capital. We were bought and traded as pieces to add to farm equipment. Capitalism in and of itself cannot sustain itself. It will eat itself. Because when you have a system that extracts so much from so many and concentrate it in the hands of so few, it will collapse. We better wake up and understand that we have to center all of our policies around poor people and working people and people of color and marginalized communities. Every policy we have, because the rich people don't need any more money.
All those gig workers, millions of jobs in the restaurant industry, millions in the hospitality industry, millions of jobs in the service sectors that don't have those protections, that have been lost because our country has allowed union membership to be decimated. Those are the millions of people who don't have any protection. Tens of thousands were already dying every year because they didn't have health care. Is there going to be a hospital bed for me if I need it? Is there going to be a ventilator if I need it? Am I going to lose my job if I get sick or I can't go back to work? Capitalism does not care about working people. It damn sure doesn't care about poor people or sick people. It only cares about replicating and making more capital. These are the viruses that still plague our body. There's income inequality and racial injustice and healthcare insecurity and housing insecurity and food insecurity. Because once this virus passes, and it will pass, the systems that are in place that are exploiting people right now must be dealt with. But it's going to be up to our generation to get this ball rolling, because we cannot rely on the White House. We cannot rely on Republicans. We cannot rely on corporate Democrats.
Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Don't tell me what you believe. Show me what you do, and I'll tell you what you believe."
With regard to that ad, the first thing really it stood out. You said Black Americans, they were the first capital in this capitalist system. Their bodies were literally capital. So I'm curious, tying capitalism to all of this, I want to know your take on this. Is it possible to change policing to root out racism effectively? I mean, it'll never go away, but I mean, can we change it enough without actually tackling capitalism itself? I'm curious what your take is on this, because you always break things down, so beautifully in a way that's easy to digest. I mean, these are big issues, and it's kind of tough to wrap your head around it. But what's your take on capitalism's role in all of this? Because I feel like it's present everywhere, and we also have to address this as well.
Well, it's a great question. So, again, no, you can't do it piecemeal. It's systematic. So, like I said in my ad, Black people literally were the first capital. The more slaves you owned, the more property you owned, the bigger your plantation could be, and so on and so forth, and the richer you could get. So we were the first capital. If we want to, capitalism, it's a line. It runs through all these things: criminal justice, policing. Because if you think about it, for-profit prisons have to make a profit, so they need bodies to fill those prisons. That's why they funnel money to the police forces to make them quasi-military forces, to arrest more people, to lock them up, to fill up for-profit prisons. So now all the contractors can provide the beds and the foods and the meals. And then we can get the guards. We can pay the guards now, because now they're part of this capitalist system. This capitalist system that funnels super amounts of money into the military industrial complex. Well, we have surplus equipment, so what do we have to do with it? We're going to sell it to other countries to kill their poor people, and we're going to sell it to our police force so we can keep our poor people and our working class people in check. Capitalism, it's a vein that runs through all these things. And in my ad, when I say that capitalism doesn't care about poor people and working people, it really doesn't. I mean, if it did, it wouldn't be capitalism. It would be socialism. It cares about making more capital and replicating that. And criminal justice is a big, big business. It's about the second biggest business. Everybody thinks, it's pharmaceuticals or technology. No, one is the military industrial complex. And then it's criminal justice, because it runs the vein through all of that stuff. And if we don't systematically reform or systematically dismantle this capitalist system, it's never going to change. I mean, we've been talking about these things for 100 years, for 200 years. The first slave that said, "Let me be free," wanted to end capitalism. They didn't like it. So we've been talking about this for hundreds and hundreds of years, and nothing's going to change unless we get a critical mass of people like me and AOCs and Rashida Tlaib's and Ilhan's into office who actually give a damn about the people because they have these lived experiences. Bro, I can go out this door right now as a highly decorated disabled veteran. Medals, ribbons, letters from the president thanking me for my service and my bravery, and be shot dead by some damn idiot because my blackness is seen as a threat. That system cannot be reformed. That system has to be dismantled.
Yeah, and you said something in that ad that also stood out to me. You said capital only cares about replicating and making more capital. And that's so simple, and it's easy to understand. Capitalism is like a virus. Like, it has led to the commodification of everything. Like, human lives, are commodified, but this isn't necessarily a new phenomenon. This has been a thing that's happened since the founding of the country. And, these problems, like the rate that capitalism is able to replicate, it's faster than the rate of change, which is why we kind of see things getting progressively worse throughout the country, why it feels like, we're not really making change. And you think that with time, progress, it is going to head in one direction, that change is linear, but that's not necessarily true. I mean, just this week, we got the landmark ruling from the Supreme Court that workplace discrimination against gay and trans people is outlawed. But then days before that, Donald Trump stripped away healthcare protections for transgender people. So it's not like you're just going to move in one direction.